Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. So this event is called Spatial Justice in Architecture, and we have some lovely speakers here. I'll give a little bit of a background, but first I just want to give you a heads up on a few of the things that we're going to do with the Women in Architecture group this year. So last year, we were founded in 2023, middle of the year, and we try to do about one event every month about this time, the third Thursday of every month, and they're usually around this area. And if you guys have suggestions or different ways that you guys want to have the events or ideas of things you'd like to do, feel free to let us know. This is very grassroots. We just do what is convenient for us or what we can do. And if other people want to host something or have an idea or a thought or want to learn about something or know someone that wants to speak, we are all ears. So we've done lunchtime events to make it accessible for people that, can't attend evening events or are caretakers for other reasons. We've done, just dinners out to get to know people. We've had speaker events like this. So we try to mix it up and give a good variety. But again, if you guys have thoughts, we're welcome to them. And then a couple of things I wanted to point out. We just started a LinkedIn group, and this is just to be able to keep everyone in the loop. And this was as a result from things that we heard about people, that they met people in, one of these events and they wanted to connect and how can I find them? And so this is one way for networking, but also a way to kind of get to know what's up and coming and get the latest events on your calendar. Next month, we're going to be doing Waking Up to Conscious Leadership. And this event is going to be hosted by another woman in the field, and she's going to be talking about how to be a great leader and kind of the way that we think and that we process. We did a leadership event at the beginning of last year, and it was a little bit of a personality test and kind of looking at your strengths and weaknesses and how you can apply it to the workplace. And this one will be kind of focused on, what makes a good leader and what tools you can access or what tools you already have and how to strengthen those. And then one thing that's not up here is that in March, we're going to do another Women in Architecture recognition event. We did it last year just down the street at Gather. We're going to do it at the same spot. And it's also going to be I forget if it's we're the fourth Thursday, said third before, fourth Thursday of the month. And the idea here is to recognize ourselves and each other. And we are going to have a dinner, we're going to have a couple drinks, and then the recognition part is to acknowledge each other. So whether you got licensed, whether you just, finish your first permit set, or you did groundbreaking on your project, or your project won an award, and maybe someone else from your team went up there and accepted it, this is kind of our ways to clap for ourselves and clap for each other, because sometimes that doesn't always happen. And also just a good way to get to know each other. With that, I'm gonna bring our speakers up here. So we have Samina and Amanda. Can you say it for me? Jewel, thank you. And they're from the Academy of Art University. I used to teach there alongside Samina, the undergrad thesis design build studio. And kind of the background of that studio is we would look at some of the local needs around some of the underserved communities, talk with them, design with them, and then build with them. So we'd spend about a semester designing and then a semester actually building something. So I will leave it to them.
Hey everyone, thanks for having us. We're really excited to talk to all of you. Let's see if this works. Okay. Is everything good Zoom-wise? Okay. All right, so welcome everybody. Again, I'm Samina.
Amanda. I'm Jewel.
And the talk is called Spatial Justice in Architecture, and we're going to be talking about the Academy of Art University B.lab program, so I'll get into that in a second. But I just wanted to introduce myself. I am an architect and live in Oakland. I was raised in Los Angeles. My parents are from India, from Bombay. And I have been teaching at the Academy of Art for about 10 years. Prior to that, I was working in schools and also affordable housing in San Francisco and all over the Bay. I served as the assistant director, the licensing advisor, and I've been sort of directing the B.lab program for the last 10 years. That's not what you're seeing. That is my own practice I run with a partner that's kind of on and off in Oakland and some of the projects we do. So I'm going to turn it over to have Jewel and Amanda introduce themselves.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name's Jewel. I was born and raised in the Philippines, and I moved here basically in South San Francisco around 2015. And then 2016, I joined the military. I'm a veteran. And right now, I'm a fourth-year student. And basically, I'm dedicated to create spaces that promotes like equity, inclusivity, and well-being with a focus on community input and spatial justice. As a Filipino immigrant and a Navy veteran, my experiences of navigating new environments and serving diverse communities have deepened my commitment to fostering diversity and belonging. The discipline, resilience, and leadership I developed in the military align with my goal to leverage design to address social challenges and enhance the quality of life for all. My work is rooted in all passion for ensuring that everyone feels valued, supported, and empowered, driven by a strong sense of duty and service.
Hello, my name is Amanda. I'm originally from Lancaster, California, but I've been living here for about 3 years in San Francisco for school. I'm a fifth-year architecture student, and I have a passion for creating safe and healthy spaces for celebrating life in. The reason this is because my parents are both Guatemalan immigrants, and so that's kind of motivated me in building safe and healthy spaces. I've learned that architecture is a container of life, and that that people bring life into spaces. And I aspire to design spaces for people that are beautiful, uplifting, healthy, and nurturing, just like my parents did for me.
Okay, thank you guys. So I'm just going to start sort of talking about the broader B.lab program, which is called the Building Lab when we started it, but it's actually a community-based design program. So I'll start with that and just run you through a few projects, then I'll end on the Stayover program, which is one of our last projects and the one I'm going to spend the most time on. So the B.lab program takes place in the third, fourth, and fifth year of the Bachelor of Architecture program in the undergrad program, and is focused on this larger goal of spatial justice, serving underserved communities in the Bay Area, mostly in San Francisco so far, and really just building advocacy among future generations of architects like Jewel and Amanda here. So one thing I just want to mention, our program at the Academy of Art is really amazing. It's a barrier-free admissions process, we call it, so it's open to everyone. In our online program, we serve a lot of people who couldn't, traditionally go to architecture school because they're in rural areas, or they have families, or they're more mature students, or they've been working. In the on-site program, most of our students are now Bay Area natives, so we're really excited about that, because when we work in communities and give back, people really feel it because they're from here. So that is a little bit about our program. And just a little bit, we started this in 2018, and we built about 8 projects, and the students have won numerous awards, some of which are listed there. Yay, students. And this is just a quick graphic overview of the program, and that's been completed over the past 6 years. Even through the pandemic, our students worked straight through the pandemic, building and outreaching with community. And all of our projects rely on a robust participatory model with neighbors, local youth, city agencies, and nonprofits, and of course, all the amazing faculty and folks at our school. One thing you might notice here is that most of our projects operate on what I'll call the micro scale. So we're not a traditional design build program where we go out and build houses or giant commercial buildings or anything like that. We're very much operating at the micro scale and working through what we call co-creation with communities and sort of trying to find the pain points and bring little bits of joy into people's lives, not necessarily solve the larger problems, because sometimes we can't. We just want to bring something to the community. Okay, so collaboration is key. These are some of the nonprofits and city agencies and people that we've worked with through the last few years, everything from the planning department to schools, to developers, nonprofit developers, and even neighborhood groups and nonprofits. And then, of course, this is not a full list yet. I need to add a few more people of all the students who've run through the program, all the consultants we've used, and all the instructors. And you see Iwana right over there, who participated in the project that's right behind you on the screen. And I'll start with this project. This was a smaller project called the Gorilla Coffee Unit. And this was designed as an advocacy tool that creates an urban kitchen table and sanctuary for unhoused folks in the city. So the idea with this project was that students created a safe space for people to converse, listen, and tell stories while offering someone who was living on the streets a place to sit, a warm cup of coffee, and someone to listen to. So, you know, this is a perfect example. This is a tool for advocacy for students to understand somebody's stories and what's happening to people on the streets and how to design for them. It's not meant to obviously solve the issue of homelessness. This was deployed all over the city around our campus at 6th and Brannan, and we also took it in this image here in the middle, guy with the gloves, to the Lava May pop-up care village in San Francisco. Which I don't know if those are still running, but it was a very cool event. This is just a little bit of the process the students go through. So it's kind of an ever-evolving collaborative process where students start by designing their own things. There's some voting process. We go into teams, and the collaboration continues. So it's kind of evolves in each studio depending on students, their personalities, and how everyone's working together. But at the end, people split into different teams and basically build the piece. So, do you want to present this? You want to? So this is the Unity Pavilion, which I had the privilege of working on with Iwana. This was a space for cooking, eating, and storytelling in a community garden in the Hunters Point neighborhood of San Francisco. The design and program were inspired by the history of food in the neighborhoods, and also the immigrant communities that have populated and cared for the land. So we worked together with a bunch of volunteers called the NCH Garden Team, the overall owners of the site. The city of San Francisco provided a challenge grant to fund this. SF Parks Alliance was involved, and we had a contractor donate some time to put in foundations. So like all our projects, the design was derived from several community and youth workshops, together with feedback from the garden team volunteers. You can see on the top right over there. It was designed as a series of frames that look out onto the garden and the San Francisco Bay while providing respite and a beacon at the top of the garden. There's communal seating and a mobile kitchen table that allows for community gathering and hopefully kitchen demonstrations with food that's grown in the garden. This is, the students made this of the work they did during the build. As you know, San Francisco, it's like really hot, and then it's raining, and then it's foggy, and then it's muddy, and then it's hot. And so everyone was out there every day working on this, and I just thought this was a great representation of what the students were doing. Part of this was fabricated in our shop, which we often do, and part was fabricated on our site. So this was probably the biggest project we did. It was like a 20 by 15 foot pavilion. And we unfortunately never got to photograph it or see it in action because the pandemic happened like literally right after we finished it. So we've gone back and it's being used, but we still haven't spent a lot of time there. So this is the mobile pantry, a system for a food bank to distribute produce, meat, and grains, also in Hunters Point. This was a very short project and inspired by one of our students. Ioana was also in this class, who talked about memories of visiting food banks with his mother, and how we can take away the stigma and sort of celebrate the fact that it's a community gathering space. This is some of the research, site visits, and context behind it. A lot of people jump into design build as an alternate thesis in their 5th year, and they're like, I don't have to do any research or drawings or any of that hard work, but all that work also goes into the class, and we really try to make sure the projects are based in strong research and theory. Okay, everyone still with me? I go through a lot of projects here. This is called the Kit of Parts. So this, as you can see, everyone's wearing masks. This was the project we did during the pandemic. So we were in March of 2020, when the school shut down, we were about to launch a series of community meetings. And what we ended up doing was doing one-on-one Zoom meetings with like 20 kids in the building. So that was fun and sort of challenging when we were all learning Zoom and how that worked. And, the kids were like starved for anything, so they actually met with us and talked to us, so it was really fun. And then 2 students pretty much fabricated all of this over one semester, because the other students had left or were unable to be on-site students. So that was a really great project. This is in the Bayview Commons apartments, also in the Bayview, San Francisco, and our partners were Mission Housing and the SF Housing Development Corporation. This is just the design, flexible, movable furniture that also worked with social distancing magically. So thank God, with a colorful groundscape that's coded to complement the colors. And it was based on an idea for the intergenerational families in the building, so grandparents could watch the kids the really little kids while they zoomed around and all that good stuff. And this was our first project, Point Perch, and it was an outdoor deck that we did over 15 weeks, an undulating deck and a stage. This was the first project we did, and it was designed after a 1-year-long lengthy outreach process to just figure out what to do in Hunters Point. The housing in Hunters Point at that time in 2018 was getting upgraded through the RAD program, and the money ran out and there was no money left for site improvement. So there was just like dirt everywhere, and these, the housing units were getting rehab. So we kind of came in and did these extensive surveys and meetings through the Boys and Girls Club and City of Dreams that was over there to try and find a spot to do something in one semester. So we ended up building that deck, and this women's empowerment group used it for meetings, and also it just acted as a place where people could sit and hang out. The site was just this kind of really gross pit. I don't even know what was in it. It was really gross. But so we just built a deck over it, and the round shape was really kind of fun and inspiring to use. I'm almost done with our projects and getting to the main one, but this is another project during the pandemic that we did in a public space at Park Merced. If anyone knows that really strange housing development in South San Francisco. It was built by the MetLife Company in 1941, and it has about 2,500 apartments. So we worked with residents in a specific courtyard that used to be a drying yard, like women used to go out there and dry clothes, and tried to build something there. So this was a project that never got built because it was also during the pandemic and the funding dried up and all kinds of crazy stuff happened. And so we simplified the process into just building a few benches and tables, but luckily we got to display them at the AIA convention in San Francisco. So that was pretty fun. Sometimes it happens. And then our latest project, which is not a built project yet, was working in West Oakland around the 16th Street train station. I don't know if anyone knows that site, but it's hopefully going to be a historic monument soon, and it's constantly endangered. It had seismic damage in the Loma Prieta earthquake, and it's a really important place in Oakland. It's really important to the civil rights movement, and it has all kinds of amazing histories in there. So we worked with a group that is trying to save it and held a community meeting, came up with some fun activities where we tried to sort of mine from the community what they wanted to happen in the space, what kinds of programs and things we could do there. and then came up with a few proposals. So this is a website with all the proposals, and hopefully this project can continue in some way and we can keep in touch with them. But this was really meant as a sort of an advocacy tool for the client, which is a nonprofit, to just help them visualize what could happen there because they didn't really have any of that. Okay, so Jewel and Amanda are going to help me with this project. This is the, it's called Micrometamorphoses in the thesis book, but this is the Stayover program project. Students started this in spring of 2023, and it lasted till spring of 2024. The Stayover shelter is basically a shelter for families experiencing homelessness that operates at night in a middle school gym. So it operates at the Buena Vista Horace Mann school in the Mission District of San Francisco. And this project allowed us again to focus on this idea of micro interventions and removing pain points. And at the end, our students fabricated somehow 80 of these folding beds and a set of furniture for one of the main rooms. So this is the school gym over there, and that's the class. And then this is what happens every evening at 7 o'clock and every morning before 7 a.m. They set up partitions, they drag out mattresses, they bring out sheets, and then people bring suitcases, and then they put it all away in the morning before 7, and then it's a gym. The kids are bouncing around and doing all that stuff. So it's called an emergency congregate family shelter, and the folks at this school really worked with the city to make this happen. I don't think it was an easy process. They were put through a lot of hoops and a lot of things to make everything work. And in the total count of San Francisco Unified students that are experiencing homelessness was 2,370 in 2022. So at this school, the social workers started to notice like behavior issues in kindergarten kids, and they linked it back to kids who were staying in shelters throughout the city. So they tried to start this program as kind of wraparound services and create an emergency shelter that operated at night in the school gym. So the program's still going. It's going through, there's a lot of politics around it, and they constantly fight and struggle to run it, but it's still going, and people are trying to replicate it around the country. This is how we started the project. You saw this diagram, but we basically tried to map out what was happening in that school gym and the adjacent dining room, which is also an art classroom, which is also an after-school program for a nonprofit called 826 Valencia. So this was kind of just trying to see how much action and things are happening, and there was just so much labor and movement to get these things done that we noticed. So we wanted to do a lot more. The school is up for a modernization very soon, so we weren't allowed to actually build anything built in or modify the rooms in any way. So what the students came up with were these folding beds that would just allow people to keep their own sheets and their own belongings locked in one place, and when they came in the evening, they just have to go get their bed, roll it over, and unfold it, rather than grabbing the mattress, then grabbing the sheets, and then getting like 10,000 other things together. So we just tried to sort of focus on this one thing to improve that one situation to make the setup easier. We also did pretty extensive surveys with people just on, what are they carrying, right? Because people basically are living out of a suitcase and taking everything with them and bringing it all back. So it was just interesting to know what people have in their, the very essentials. And, it's, Ioana and I were just talking about this, like all the wildfires and stuff going on and people having to leave and take a suitcase. And it just makes you think, like, what are the things you just actually need when you need to go? So this is just a quick diagram of scheduling. We try to teach scheduling and management, materials, budgets, etc. in the studio. Thank you. Our strongest tool, I think, in the whole semester was prototyping at community workshops. We started with cardboard, and then we moved into wood, and we took the designs and tested them. You saw this first design earlier on where you had to take the bed off of the storage platform, and that did not work. And people were like sitting there trying to put it together, and we were like, oh, this is a bit awkward. And one of the little skateboards on wheels got left there, and kids were just zooming around on it, and so we're like, okay, this is not good. Like a lot of safety issues. So but that prototyping really worked. And then this is just a little bit about the detail. So the students made 80 beds total over the year, which was insane. We didn't think we were going to do that. We thought we were going to build like 10 and then sub it out to someone and get it fabricated, but they built it. We used a CNC for a lot of it, but there were so many little pieces and parts that got ordered and to put the bed together, and so many little, just really thoughtful details the students put in. So it was crazy. And I just want to end with the last part of the project. So at the beginning when we went in, we of course, and I wish we had more existing photos, but we wanted to really make an impact in the whole space, not just the gym, because the dining room was a bit of a disaster. They were eating there. Like I said, they were having art classes and after school classes, and then all the mattresses and food and everything was stored there. The bathrooms were there. So, at the end, because of the constraints with the building and the modernization and the current condition of the building, we ended up making a sort of series of mobile pieces that we could add in that would just hopefully help with the storage needs and kind of just brighten the space. And we were allowed to do a mural, so we kind of continued with that. And I'll turn it over to Amanda to talk about the community outreach process that we continued on.
Yeah, so how Selena mentioned, we would go do workshops with the families. So the workshops were personally my favorite aspect of the project because I got to meet and work with the families. That's something in studios we don't usually get to do. And it really was my personal favorite because I got to connect with the families. I think I connected a little bit more with them more on a personal level, not because of the language that I spoke Spanish with them, but a lot of them were immigrants. So I understood their needs and their wants. And it was a really rewarding aspect because they would come up to me later and tell me like, oh, like this helped me so much. Like I had a lot of older women come up to me, or there was a young gentleman who had back issues who said the beds were so much more comfortable. And just the little like lifted up from the ground, it like helped him so much. So yeah, it was rewarding hearing all the stories and all the gratitude they shared with us of how our project just kind of made their stay a little bit more comfortable. Yeah.
And I think this whole process of community outreach was super organic because we didn't get a lot of, we didn't have really great scheduling. It was kind of like when we got hold of the people that ran the shelter, because they were so busy, and it would just be like, can you come this Saturday? And we'd be like, yeah, we can come this Saturday. And then we just, scramble to put something together. So we, one time we took all this extra tile we had sitting around and just smashed it and made mosaics. And one of the mosaics made it into one of the pieces of furniture. One of the students, Kim, was really excited about doing a mural, and there was like a nautical theme they asked us to work with. So we did a nautical mural, so we just went over there one weekend and painted it. So it was very organic and very fun, and I believe we're still taking students out there. I think they went last semester again to continue. So just going and working with the kids and just giving them a little break from their lives, and from all the hard issues they're dealing with is just really fun. These are all the pieces that were built and fabricated by 3 women, 3 students over one semester. And again, we collaborated with the Dolores Street, which runs the shelter, with the principal of BVHM who had some needs, and also with 826 Valencia that was using the space. So I'm gonna let Jewel talk about the furniture, making the furniture.
So basically, building the furnitures is kind of like really fun for me, because like throughout like first year, second year, third year, everything is just like drawing, like computerized. And when I joined the B.lab, I was like so excited to like use my hands and just like starting to build. So it was such a fun and rewarding experience, because it wasn't just about like building things, it's about tapping into like creativity and just solving problems in hands-on way. So like each piece came with its own like set of challenges, but that's what made it like really like exciting for me, because there's something special about turning an idea into something real and functional. So my background as a mechanical engineer in the Navy kind of like really defined, I definitely like played a big role in how comfortable I felt in the workshop. Because like basically when we were like building this, like I was never in this studio, I was always in the workshop. Like I would always say like, oh, I basically live there. So so back then I would like spend a lot of like time taking apart when I was still in the Navy and putting together like machineries and everything from auxiliary equipment to ship propulsion system. So that experience taught me how to work with like precision and really understand how things work. Being in the shop brought me back to those roots, but with a creative twist. It felt like the perfect mix of like structure and freedom. Problem solving on one hand and designing something new on the other, whether it's machine or like a piece of like furniture. I always loved the process of like building things and just like figuring things out. And for me, it's not just like work, but I genuinely something like I enjoy.
Almost done. I just put a few photos up here. The project wasn't perfect in any way. We learned a lot of lessons about, mass production and durability along the way. We had to change our design several times. We had to go back. We're still going back and repairing stuff. And, we had to pivot a lot of times on the fly. And we were, it was really serious because we were being held accountable to a group of people that really needed this product. We couldn't just say, it's not working, like, let's go home. So, and also, looking at the workload of nonprofits, so the nonprofit folks, the folks running the shelter, I mean, the amount of stress and workload and issues they deal with on a daily basis. Also, it's hard to go in and be like, hey, let's talk about design, when they're like, no, we're talking about like life and death over here. Like, so, that was really a great experience, I think, for us all to go through and learn how to really work one-on-one with our partners, who are great, and we're so appreciative, and we're really fun to work with. The one thing that happened is after we delivered 80 beds, they ordered the wrong mattress. That didn't fit. So I think they're still trying to rectify it, but somehow the beds got paired together and the mattress fit across two of them. So they just got like full-size beds now. So we're still working on that. And, and we're always kind of thinking about, how we could have better communicated that we needed those exact beds that they gave us as a prototype and all that good stuff. So, also, we tried afterward to offer our advocacy to the groups here to like make presentations, and we made the video sort of to give to them to sort of try to get funding and expand the program around. So basically, closing the distance between us, the students and faculty, and the actual families, the actual end users of the project was just really a powerful process, and it just automatically, it builds empathy, and it brought humanity to the design. Like all the big wacky design ideas go out the door, and we just have to design something that works and looks good and is durable. So that was kind of the thing. And I'm gonna end this presentation with Jewel and Amanda just giving a few more insights of their process, and that will be it.
So for this project, the B.lab profoundly like influenced me, my perspective on design and its role into like fostering social equity, and seeing it firsthand with thoughtfully designed spaces can significantly improve like the daily lives of the community members has enforced my belief in the power of architecture and design as tools for social change. And also it has inspired me to pursue a career path that prioritizes community engagement, spatial justice, ensuring that my work as a future designer will always consider and include the voices of those it impacts. This experience has taught me the value of like collaboration, flexibility, and especially empathy in the design process. And it has deeply like enriched my understanding on how design can serve as a catalyst for positive and tangible change in local communities.
For me, working as a designer on this project, it really truly helped me understand the valuable perspective of design and creative problem solving. One of the key takeaways for me was the importance of balancing creativity with functionality to make sure that we create an outcome that's practical and user-friendly. Hearing how from the families how our project really impacted them and helped them, that has really influenced me in my future career as an architect. I would love to one day have a career path that works on projects like this that are community-based with design and engagement. Yeah, and I really would hopefully love to make a difference, kind of like we did with this project. Yeah.
Okay, that's it for the presentation.